Hey, this video does contain spoilers for The Last of Us Part 1 and Part 2. All these are my opinions and should just be kept as such. This is my second YouTube video, first one ever, not live, so I try my best. The Last of Us Part 2 comes out on PC, I think the day or tomorrow. I don't know, it depends on when I post it. Today. We'll just say today. A lot of time has passed. The Last of Us Part 2 came out in 2020. It's a game, there was a lot of hype behind it. There was high expectations of it. I was one of those people that had high expectations. I loved the first game. Didn't play the Part 1, on release day. I kind of waited for Black Friday for it came with the PS3, the one with the sliding disc. I heard a lot of good things about it. I'm pretty sure I was introduced to The Last of Us whenever PewDiePie was playing his game. Is doing his gameplay, and I got the intro spoiled to me, but yeah, it was a very powerful intro. The Last of Us Part 1, I'm just gonna start calling that since we know there's parts to it. Left a huge mark on the gaming world. Evidently so, well deserved. Whenever Part 2 first released, it was there was a lot of confrontation online whenever it first came out. Whether you liked it, you were clowned on. Whether you hated it, you were clowned on. I was one of the people that didn't like it. It very much undersold my expectations of it, and that's what this video is about. I'm pretty sure enough time has passed, and not many people are gonna want. Enough time has passed where we could just talk about it freely. And I think right now is a good time to bring up the conversation again. I'm just here to tell you or give you guys my opinions on what not really what happened, more of changes I would have made and why they should have made those changes, just so I can have some backup on my reasoning. In this video, I'm going to be comparing both games. It will be pretty hard not to. I'm going to try to do this in a list, in a friendly internet list, like Jenny Nicholson. Part 1. Intro. The intro to The Last of Us Part 1 was one that left a mark on everybody. Spoilers if you haven't played it. I'm should be putting a warning in front of this video, but it definitely left a mark, man, because that intro was something else. The view from the Joel's daughter, the fact that it was just kind of one shot, not with that many breaks. I think there was like one or two cutscenes. Everything was very fluid. The game guided you on where to go, but you were playing Joel at that point, and everything was intense. Gas explosions, cars running over people, cars running into people. There was just a lot of depth because Part 1 made such an impact. I think they tried translating that impact to Part 2. They had to have that same oomph, They definitely did that in Part 2. However, it wasn't received very well. Again, spoilers, I'm going to be talking about Joel. And you know what? They decided to go golfing. Whenever Joel's daughter died in the beginning, it was a big moment. It was a very sad moment, and it pushed the story forward. Joel's death needed to happen, I think, in order for Ellie's story to continue. It just didn't land as much as they wanted it to. How I think it should have went was in Part 1, a father lost their daughter, and in Part 2, the daughter should have lost the father. So there's a parallel between both games, and how the game should have started was you get the perspective of Abby. They should have started the Last of Us Part 2 with Abby. It could have been like she's hanging out with the fireflies at the hospital and, everything's fine. However, people start hearing gunshots and everyone's in a panic. And then, Joel's just in part one killing everybody, but from her perspective, he's killing all of her friends. So you kind of get that perspective from Abby right off the get go, because their mistake with part two was you hate Abby right off the bat without even giving her a chance for the audience to understand where she's coming from. The game waits like 8-10 hours to give you her motivations when she literally just killed your favorite character, a character you've been waiting to see again for years, and also probably been replaying. So starting off on Abby's point of view first, getting to know the character, her reasoning behind wanting to kill Joel, trying to kill the character that you love the most, you get that perspective. Even though you probably won't like Abby, at least you have her side of the story, her perspective, her feelings, to at least give the audience the chance to stand Abby. And the game fails drastically. They kind of give you everybody to hate from Abby's side, and then 15 hours later they're like, this is why you should like this character. No, like, hatred is such a much more potent emotion than understanding. And you could argue, that's what part two was aiming for, but it just, the whole game was told out of order, very confusing. Too many parts to the puzzle, trying to tell a cohesive story in a very non-linear way, and it just doesn't work. You jump back and forth through time, different perspectives. It's just it doesn't work. The game could have benefited from telling it in a linear way. Like I said earlier, you could have started off on Abby's perspective, just day of where The Last of Us 1 ended ended. Start part 2 right off the bat. Abby in the hospital watching all of her friends die. You get her perspective. And then you jump to Ellie and Joel whenever she's in the astronaut. Whenever she tells Joel she wants to be an astronaut. And you see Ellie, she's still a kid. You come back to the series right where you left off. There's no reason for flashbacks. It just would have been so much more fluid if told in that order. And then jump, however many years into the present in order whenever Ellie asks Joel about what actually happened in the hospital. And then she would have been super pissed. Joel would have been super sad. And then the whole bar fight thing would have happened. Joel would have went out, just like in the order. And then before Joel dies, before Joel dies, then cut to Abby's, working towards trying to find Joel to kind of build up that tension. There is no tension, really. It kind of just happens. It is a super graphic scene, and it does make an impact, but it just doesn't make the right one. Like I said, Joel needed to die in this game in order for the story to move forward, and the way they wanted it to. They did not do a good job of it. The game also lies to you, whenever the gameplay starts, forming. There's a part where you go to an open level where the game gives you a map and you can freely roam that area, marking off locations where you hear noises, you hear infected, and you can explore them at your leisure, at your leisure, in any order you want, if you even want to do it anyways, for materials or just experience points in general. And that was fun. but then again, the game never shows you that again. Like that's the only time you see that map or a map of sorts, and that just doesn't feel good. That kind of mechanic would have. I'm pretty sure it was received pretty well. I liked it. I enjoyed it, and I didn't like a lot of the gameplay, but having that option to go to these other areas that were pretty scary if you heard all whatever was going on in that room. It's just you never see it again, and I would really like to explored an area like that again, either once or twice. And the amount of drawers you have to open just to get, an Adderall. I don't want to open that many drawers for half a pill of an Adderall. I'm good. That was lame. There's a lot of good things about this game. There really are. The new enemy types, like the Rat King, the Stalkers, and even new human enemy types like the what was it called? Like the Seraphites. There's a cult in the game, and it was very interesting, but not so interesting as to divert two very important plots going on at the same time. There didn't need to be a third one. There really didn't. The game was already starting to become a mess, and adding a third plot point or a plot was just unnecessary. Very unnecessary. I played this game whenever it first came out, so all of this is coming off of memory, and I have no intention of playing this game again. The PC release isn't really new. Updated graphics, don't care much about that. But yeah. This video didn't end up like a list like I thought it was going to. I kind of just started rambling, so hope you enjoyed anyways. Later.